Hi, my name is Catherine Mesier. Welcome to my home. I was out in my herb garden, so let me put these aside and excuse my appearance because I was out there in that garden. Herbs are very important to the colonial people. We use herbs for many things, for cooking, in the apothecary, and for scenting our homes. I have sage, and sage is great for healing wounds, cleaning wounds, and we have many of those here working on a farm. We have dill that is used in seasoning, and it's wonderful for baby's colic. We have lavender. It's wonderful to scent our homes and our clothing. Being that we live on a farm with the animals, our home is not always the freshest, and so we like to keep it that way. We also have rosemary. Rosemary is wonderful for memory, and it's used in baking wedding cakes as a sign, a tribute to the wedding couple of the remembrance and the fond thoughts we have for them. Now, one of the most important one is bee balm or bergamot, and that is used for tea. It's a substitute that we use. Oh, speaking of tea, I have a story for you. Not a happy story for us, but 3 days in my life and my husband, Peter, were terrible. Peter's a merchant, and he has a little store right in the back, and he sells many things. One of the things are tea. Peter, knowing that tea is important, has charged exorbitant prices for it. It's a staple with the colonials, and so it's something they need. I told him many times not to charge that much. It was not fair to his neighbors. He would not listen to me. He didn't think I knew much about business, even though I've worked beside him and been his wife for 18 years. Our neighbors were not happy with him. Peter was a loyalist. He was in favor of King George, which is one thing they were not happy about. They felt he was a traitor. He did not support the patriotic cause for freedom from Great Britain. So when they realized his tea prices were so high, that was just one more fly in the ointment. Peter was away this particular day, beautiful May morning, Monday, as a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, 1777. A group of women came into our store and wanted to purchase tea. They also had 2 gentlemen with them. They have Tom Rouse and Sam Hull. They were colonial soldiers. I was alone and tending the store. I thought I could help them and they would be happy. They said to me, "We want tea, but we're not paying the price you're asking. It's not a fair price. We would like to give you what we feel is the fair price." I said, "That's not what we're charging." They took the tea, they put money on the counter and said, "That's what you're getting," and they left the store. When Peter returned and I told him what had happened, he was so angry at the brassiness and boldness of the group. He was there the next day, Tuesday, when they returned. This time there were women and there were some men, but the men stayed outside this time. The women said they wanted the tea at the price that was fair, the price that they would pay for that tea. Peter laughed at them. Peter says, "No, this is my price. I'm a merchant, and this is what I'm charging." The ladies were very angry. Peter said, "Ladies, go home, tend your children. This is not a concern of yours." Well, they were furious. They knocked over shelves. They shouted. They screamed. There was pushing and shoving. I was in the corner, trembling. I'd never seen anything like this before in my life. One of the gentlemen that was outside was a colonial soldier, Tom Rouse. He came into the store. He pushed Peter down to the floor and he said, "You are going to give us what we want." He grabbed Peter by the throat And he said, I will hit you with my broadsword if you do not let us take what we want. There was a lady that was there, an elderly lady, and she also grabbed Peter and said, Mr. Mesier, you are going to do what we say or you'll be very sorry. Peter was rattled. He didn't know what to do. He let them leave. The next day, Wednesday, no one came to the store. And Peter and I were relieved. We thought perhaps all of the confusion and upsetting over the tea was over. But we were wrong. Thursday morning, as I was opening the shades to the store, I saw a group of men and women yelling and screaming, so angry. Peter, Peter, they're coming. What should we do? Peter raced and bolted the door. I had my 2 children with me, and I held them behind my skirt because I wanted to protect them from this. They were crying and didn't know what was going to happen. My babies were so scared. Peter blocked the door, and they commanded him to open it, saying that they had paperwork that they had the right to search our home and store. He said, I need to see the paperwork. They couldn't produce it. They broke in the door and they came in and they went through every room in our house and everything in the store. They took Peter outside, dragging him out with our 2 servants, Tom and Polly, and they beat them in the front courtyard. I said, mercy, mercy, please don't do this, but they didn't listen to me. I came back into the store. They were going through all of our personal things, taking tea, going to the cellar, drinking everything that we had, breaking casks of wine, breaking open jugs of whiskey. They drank all of Peter's spirits. After they decided to leave, I went out and got Peter to come in with our servants, and I tended to their wounds. They were beaten quite badly. And I was using sage to help them, which I was glad I had it in hand. Peter didn't know what to do after this. He thought long and hard. We looked around our house. We saw the damage. They broke pictures. They broke a lot of trifles, took the tea. We were very much confused about what to do. Peter decided that he would lower tea prices, and quietly we lived in the community. It's been called the Wappingers Tea Party, those 3 terrible days that we suffered. And many people applauded and cheered it, just like it was a 4th of July celebration. But to us, it was a terrible time. I would rather forget it ever happened.